You have items in your craft stash that are neglected and unused, but you can't bear to get rid of them? Welcome to Use It or Lose It, a weekly YouTube series where I'll dive into the products that you have lying around in your craft room and the products I have lying around in mine. After I've created something, I'll decide if I think I'll use it again or if it needs to give up that precious space in my stash, and I hope you'll play along. Hey friends, it's Jen here. Can you guess what the topic of today's Use It or Lose It is going to be? You guessed it, we're talking about punches. And you can see I have a lot of punches here. My punches will almost all fit in the frame, but they are covering my desk, as you can see. And I have all sorts of punches, but I mostly have simple shapes and then icons that I use frequently and borders. So you can see I've got a variety of circles. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 circle punches. A couple of them are scalloped circles. I've got 3 square punches. I have a rectangle punch. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circle punches. I mean, not circle, heart punches. This one punches out 6 different sizes of hearts, so that's a nice one to have. If you're looking to consolidate on some of your space, if you don't have a lot of space, and there are certain icons that you use a lot, a heart punch like this might be a good investment for you. I've got a star punch, I've got a triangle, I've got a corner rounder here, I have a speech bubble. So these are things that I use frequently in my crafting. I've got a couple that have leaves on them. That leaf I used a lot, and this one too. I have used this flower a couple of times, but I don't use that one as much, so that's something to keep in mind. Here's a little banner punch. I've got 3 butterfly punches in different sizes. This one is a newer one, and it is a bow punch. It is really fun. You punch it out, and you can fold up a little bow. I'll show you that in a bit. And then I have some border punches. So I have a simple scallop. This is, I think, called Apron lace from Fiskars. This is my most used border punch. This is a notebook edge. I have a heart punch, it is a border punch, but I mostly use it for the little hearts that you get when you punch it out, but you know, that's whatever. And then I have this punch from American Crafts where you can switch out the punches that go inside, and I have 3 different punches for that. I have just this dot, this kind of apron lace scallop, and then I have another scallop with a dot inside of it. So those are my punches, and I also have this label. It cuts 3 different labels, so I like these punches that have multiple of the same kind of shape in different sizes. I think they're very versatile. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the lesson for today because I have a lot I want to show you. All right, so for the layout I'm creating today, I am using the stash kit that I made a few episodes back. I'll try to remember to link it in the video description, but if I don't, you can find it on the Use It or Lose It playlist on my YouTube channel. And I am using this photo of my daughter who is looking at one of our scrapbooks, and I wanted to do a page about the reason why I do this hobby that I love so much. So I've pulled some papers from the kit that I put together, and I'm just going to cut them down to some interesting layers to go behind my photo before I get started with my punches. I do want to mention I have about 10 minutes of extra ideas after the layout at the end of the video, so I hope you'll stick around if you're interested in learning more ways to use your punches. But I decided to put some white there because I've got some pretty distressed backgrounds going on. They're nice and light and really pretty, but they're a little bit older. Those are from Basic Gray and Studio Calico. And I just wanted to freshen it up a little bit, so I put the white in, and I really think that helps. So my title is going to be This Is Why. I didn't have an S, so I cut an 8, and you can make an 8 into an S. I learned that little trick from Sarah, which my mind just went blank, and I can't remember her last name all of a sudden. I'll remember it in a minute and I'll let you know. But what I'm going to do is use these flowers to decorate my layout, and I am going to create some little embellishments to put on top of them. And the way that I'm going to do this is using a couple of circle punches. So I think when I did the little poll about this, most people had basic shapes, and almost everyone said that they had circle punches. And so I am focusing a lot on the circle punches today, but I'll show you some other things as well. So what I did was I punched 3 circles out. I stapled them together, and then I misted them just with a teeny tiny bit of water because I wanted to, the water helps the paper be a little bit more pliable. And basically I'm just scrunching up the layers, and this creates a nice little flower. And I promise I will zoom out here in a second. I forgot that I was zoomed in because I don't usually zoom in, but it creates a nice little flower. I'm going to create another one, so you'll see that here too. And it's so easy. Punch 3 circles, fluff them up. You can do more than 3 if you want a little bit more dimension. I try, when I'm doing this on a scrapbook layout, I like to use smaller circles because I don't want my page to be super like out there. But if you're putting this onto some sort of gift or something, it's fun to go all out and use a big one. So I created 2 to go on those larger flowers, and I'm just putting them in the centers. And I'm going to show you how you can create some leaves using the same circle punch. So basically what I did was I just punched out a circle, and then I punched out the sides, and I can get 2 leaves out of that. So you can see how I did that there. I'm going to do it here again in just a second. So I punched out a circle, and then I just held the circle inside the punch and created a leaf shape that way. So really easy. And if you're good, that little shape at the end kind of looks like a bow. So you could even use that, as you can see it sitting there on my mat. I am using this Tim Holtz glass media mat today for my working surface, and it's actually not mine. I borrowed it from my friend CJ, but I'm thinking about getting one. And if you guys have an opinion one way or another, let me know if you like my layouts based on this black media mat or not. I actually really like the surface, but I'm not going to decide to use it until I see I don't know if you guys like it visually or anything like that. So just let me know if you have an opinion. I cut a little piece of that polka dot paper to put behind my photo. I just wanted something, and usually I mat my photos in white, but because I have that white cardstock there, I didn't feel like I needed to mat it in white. I needed something else. So I am going to move this flower down, and I remembered why I had it up in the first place, because I was going to put my title, part of my title right there on the right hand side of the photo, but I forgot that. So I moved the flower down because I wanted it to be touching the photo. And this is where I kind of remembered. And those letters, I cannot remember where I got them. I think I got them at Hobby Lobby or something. I've had them in my stash for a while. They're adhesive backed little chipboard stickers. Maybe I got them at even Tuesday morning. I'm not sure, but right now I'm putting some enamel dots in the insides of those little flowers that I created. And I'm just using some glue dots to adhere those down. And I did put extra adhesive underneath the enamel dots too, because they are sitting on top of the staple, and I thought that they needed some extra little adhesive there. So these leaves are kind of the same background color as that cloud paper, and so I decided to ink the edges, which I don't do very often, but you can see that it really defines them. I'm just using kind of the same color. It's Evergreen Bough from Tim Holtz. It's a Distress Oxide ink. And I really like the way that helps to define the leaves. So it doesn't matter to me that they're similar in color. I just wanted them to stand out a little bit more. And I'm going to, you can kind of see I'm creasing those leaves as I put them on, so they have a little bit of dimension as well. I'm going to punch out another leaf shape here to put, I thought that large flower needed 3 leaves. So I'm going to put another one up at the top. And I will create some little tiny ones for those smaller purple flowers too. And you can see that my embellishment kind of hops back and forth. It is in a visual triangle, but you can see it starts at the top left, then you go down to the bottom right, then it leads so that top one leads your eye through the title. And then when you go from that second cluster to that third cluster on the bottom, it leads your eye through the photo. And that's kind of where I want the focus to be. I want you to read the journaling in the title and look at the photo. And so you can use large and bold embellishments if you place them correctly. It will draw attention to the important parts of your layout, not distract from them. So I'm just doing those little tiny leaves here for those smaller flowers, and just sticking them where I think it looks good. Some of them I'm sticking right next to each other, some I'm sticking on the side. And I decide at this point that I will have those words that say is why. I was originally going to do them next to the word this, but now I'm going to do them underneath. So I'm adhering the word this, and I kind of don't love how the edge of the T is hanging off the left-hand side of the photo, so I moved them all over. And then when I decide to put down the is why, I wanted that to be fully on the photo, and so I moved my letters down just a little bit so they're barely touching the photo at the top, and then I can rest the words is and why beneath it. So I like the way that works. And then I decided to use a period at the end of it because this is going to be kind of a continuation of my journaling. My journaling is going to go above the title, and then the title, this is why, kind of ends the journaling. So I wanted to put a period at the end of it, like a sentence. And I'm thinking about if I want to use one of these Ali Edwards stamps that I put in my kit, but at the moment I'm not going to. I decide to take my favorite notebook edge punch, and I am just randomly punching some pieces off of the sides of my layout. And you can see on the left especially that it's not straight, and I am happy with that look. I really like the way that looks. And what I'm going to do is just put a little peak of paper behind that. So I'm going to put black. It's a little bit contrasting, and I like the way that it just kind of has that little extra oomph. You can't really tell here because I'm working on the black surface, but you can see right here when I'm putting it on the white, that just gives that little bit of black, and I really like it. And then I ruffle up the edges of the notebook punch, and it looks really great. So you can do this with all kinds of border punches, a scallop punch, anything really, just to give a little interest to the edges of your layout. Sometimes I like to rip the side of my layout. I know Missy Whitten likes to cut into her layout and then add some paper behind, but doing it with a punch is just a kind of a fun and decorative way to do that. I'm putting more adhesive behind these chipboard letters because they kind of fell off when I flipped my paper over. So I realized that they needed more adhesive. Most chipboard stickers do for whatever reason. And I'm moving my flower down a little bit because I want to make sure things can nestle, because you know how I do. And now I'm going to, I was just pointing out, if you have leaf punches, feel free to use a leaf punch for this, obviously. You could also use a heart punch to do leaves. But if you don't have a heart and you don't have a leaf and all you have is a circle, you can create flowers with leaves with just a circle punch. Now I've got out my corner rounder punch, which I always forget about, but I really love the way it can soften a boxy layout. So I have those nice square layers, but in order to bring a little bit of softness, I rounded the corners, and it just helps it feel a little bit softer. And those flowers are soft, so I feel like it really goes with the feel of this layout, and I love it. So I'm going to remember to bring out my corner rounder more often. So what I'm doing now is cutting out some of those cameras out of that black pattern paper from Maggie Holmes, and I like the pop they add. The photo's black and white, so it really ties it in with that, and also the little pops of black on the sides. And you can see scratches on my arm there. That's from a cat. That was nice. Playful little bites and scratches, but you know. All right, so I'm just putting 2 down. I thought maybe after I put these 2 down that I needed 1 more, but I'll change my mind and you'll see why in a minute here. I'm putting them up on some thin foam squares just to give them a little bit of something, and I'm putting them kind of under the leaves. I find when you make embellishments nestle together like this and overlap each other, it really feels like they were meant to be together rather than just putting a bunch of stuff on a page. I want to use these birds. I love these birds. It's from an old basic gray sticker sheet, and I was going to use them on a previous layout but didn't, and so they have foam adhesive behind them. So I'm going to try to use at least one of those. And then I have 3 little chipboard label stickers from Freckled Fawn that are white, and I am also adding some of these butterfly flies from Pretty Little Studio. And I really, really like the way that this came together. I feel like even though I used a lot of older supplies, it feels good to me. Like, it feels like something I would create now. I did create it now, so of course it feels that way. But I don't know, just it doesn't feel dated, in my opinion. I decided to add in a little bit of yellow. There's a lot of yellow in that flower on the top and in the word this. And the whole background is yellow, really. But to just add in a little darker pop of it, I decided to use that measuring tape washi tape, which is super old from Amy Tan. One of her first, maybe her first line with American Crafts. I'm also going to put this little circle up on foam dots, and that is from a Kaiser Craft die cut package. I always link to all available products in the video description if I can, so you can check that out if you were interested. If you're wondering about that little fish that I have some of my embellishments resting inside, I think I got that in the Target dollar spot. So it was just cute, and I thought it'd be fun to have on my desk to put stuff in. I'm adding another flower at the bottom. I just felt it had a little bit of yellow on it too, and I felt like it helped the top flower tie in, because that top flower is kind of like red and orange with a little bit of pink, and the bottom is so pink, so I just wanted to add a little something. I punched out some more leaves for that flower too, and so I'm just kind of tucking those in. And now I'm going to think about what I want to do for journaling and maybe doing a date or something like that. I decided to put one of those little white chipboard labels above my title. And here what I'm going to do is another favorite thing to do with my punches. So I'm using that Stampin' Up! Border punch that has hearts, and I'm punching out this Deco foil kind of dimensional adhesive. It's foam, double-sided foam, and it's super thin. And what I'm going to do, this is awesome, I love this technique, is it's double-sided, so you just peel off one side of the sticky. I'll show you here in a second. And then you stick it to the foil, and then you can peel it off and the foil sticks to the shape. So this is a really fun way to use hearts. And if you want to get into foiling but you don't have like a laminator or anything like that, you can do this so simply. You could even hand cut these images. So basically you just peel off the backing, you stick it to the foil, you rub it a little bit, and then you peel it off, and there you can see the cute little shapes. And I'm sorry, I should have slowed this down probably, but I think you can get the idea. And I tried 3 different colors. I did like champagne, pink melon color, and then kind of an iridescent color. And I like the pink. I always love gold, but this time I'm going to go with the iridescent ones. I just feel like they bring more freshness to it, and the reflective quality of them, like iridescent things kind of have that rainbow look, you know, and it really matches the chipboard letter stickers, I thought. So I do a bunch of those, and then I am going to basically, remember, you just peel off one sticky side, stick it to the foil, peel that off, and then you can peel off the other side and stick it to your layout. It's really simple, really fun, really easy, and it's just beautiful. You don't even need very much foil, you just need a tiny little piece. So I save all my little scraps so I could do stuff like this, and it's just really fun. So I'm just trying to decide where I want to put all of these. In the end, I think I put 7 or 8 or 9, I can't remember, a whole bunch on here, and I just sprinkled them around in the little clusters that I've made. So I'll put a few at the top, a few by the title, and then a few at the bottom as well. And I just think that they add such a pretty little detail, and they're white, right? But they're iridescent, so they have that reflective quality. So when you look at the page, you get that little sparkle, but because they're so light, they're not drawing your eye away from anything else important. So it's just another detail that you'll take in as you keep looking at the layout. And I love little stuff like that. So here you can see I'm almost done. I'm ruffling up the edges of that border punch a little bit more. At this point, I'm thinking maybe the third pop of black, instead of another camera, I would make a little bow. So I got my little bow punch out, and basically you just punch it out and then you fold the bow together. It's super simple. And so I just put one together here, and I decide that I just don't need it. It's not fitting in anywhere. I didn't feel like it belonged. So what I'm doing now is looking up the date, and I actually decide to stamp today's date because that's the date that I did the journaling, and then I'm going to stamp the date that she was actually looking at the page, the date of the photo. And when I do that, I like to use my Ali Edwards Then and Now stamp set. That's from a story kit. And then in the then spot, I'll stamp the date of the photo, and the now spot, I'll stamp the date of the journaling. And I forgot to go back and find the date for the then. So even in the still photos at the end, you'll see that I only have one date on there, but I will go back and find that before I put it in my album. So I'm using one more punch. I didn't know if this would be overkill or not, but I decided to try it. And I just wanted to add a little border of this maybe next to the photo or something like that. And I decided to add it underneath at the bottom of the layout because there was a little space there that I wanted to fill. And that is going to complete this layout. I have about 10 more minutes of other ideas for you, so I hope that you'll stick around and watch for those. All right, so I want to show you a few more ways to use punches. I want to start by showing you specifically what I've done with circle punches. And so we talked about making the little flowers where you just punch them and then staple them together and ruffle it up. So that works really great and awesome. And to create the little leaves, you just punch part of the circle and you can get a leaf shape. But you can also do some other fun stuff. So let me show you this. So here's some more flowers actually, just different sizes. You can see I used a bigger circle on this one, and then this is that small pinked circle. So you can get them however big you want. And this is great for like a gift topper if you wanted to try that. I also created this little fun pumpkin. Now you could use a really big circle punch for this. This one I just used like a 2-inch punch, and so it's just small. This would be great for a place card or something. But what I did was I took 4 circles from the same patterned paper. One side is orange and the other side is black and white, so it was perfect. And then I just stapled them together. I snipped off the bottom so that it had a flat edge to stand up on, and then I fluffed them out. And you can see because I did them like every other one, so this one has the orange side face up, then this one has the black and white, it makes it so that when I fan out the circles, that each little section has its own kind of color. So then you can fan it out like this, and it just sits up on the table nicely. It looks really cute from the side. It's kind of hard to tell. And then for the little stem here, you can see it's just kind of like a little shape there. I used the circle punch for that too. So you're just gonna make, let me show you here with this punch really quickly. Let me punch a circle and then I'll punch a bit out of it. I forgot with this punch it's harder to do that with. Okay. All right, so I've got my leaf shape here. You're just gonna fold it in half and then tuck it in. We'll pretend this is the top. You're just gonna tuck it in between some of the layers, and it looks like the little pumpkin. So even though it's just a half circle, you can see the shape of it looks like the top of a pumpkin. So that's just another one of those leaf shapes folded in half. So we've got the pumpkin. You can also use circle punches to make a quick banner. So you can see here, I've got this little banner. This is using a larger punch. This works really awesome with especially with if you have adhesive cardstock. So check this out. I have this adhesive cardstock. I already punched some out of here. I'll just do a smaller piece so you can see what that looks like too. Let's do this size right here. So I did a scalloped circle, but here I can just do a regular circle. And basically what you want to do is, if you're using the adhesive backed, or if you're not, you're going to fold it in half. You're going to score it. Then you're going to take off the sticky backing, which is really easy to do. This is a stack from Die Cuts with a View. And then I'm just going to lay that down. I can put my string right on top of it in the crease and kind of push it down. And because it's sticky, it holds it there, so that makes it easy for me. And then I'm just going to close it like this, and it's part of my banner now. Now, if you don't have sticky backed cardstock, that's no big deal. You can do the same thing with just a regular piece. So here I have a circle that I punched. I folded it in half, and what I'm going to do now is I'll just take a bit of adhesive, and I do find that it's really easier if you put the adhesive right in the center so that the string can stick to it, a little bit on the sides, and we're just going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to lay the string down on that crack, or that scored side, and then push it down, and then you've got this cute little banner, and it takes no time to make. If you don't want to do it that way, you can always actually stitch the little circles together with a sewing machine. It's really fast. You just feed them through really quickly, and it makes a really nice little banner. So there's an idea for a banner. The other idea that I had was, look at this. Okay, so these are punched hearts, and what I've done is, okay, well, first of all, if you just punch out one heart and a little circle, doesn't that look like a little hat? That's kind of cute. You could put it on a little person and be like a little snow hat or something, or a grandma with a bun. So cute. But what I thought when I put 3 of these hearts together and I kind of fanned them out, that it would be the cutest little cupcake topper. So you put this on the top of a cupcake. I'll see if I can like try to superimpose a picture of a cupcake right here so you can see it. But I think that would be super fun and a really great little cupcake topper. Of course, you can make little cupcake topper pennants with these as well. Just glue it to a toothpick or something like that. The other thing I wanted to show you was you can use use punches for a quick way to make an easy layout or card. So these are just circles that I punched and cut in half, right? And what I can do, if you don't want to use multiples of the same pattern, you can even just punch out half of a circle. So you could just kind of eyeball it and then punch out a half circle and then do it again with another color for the other side. But I think this is really fun. Let me zoom out just a little bit and I'll show you on, let me just show you what I kind of had in mind when I was thinking of these circles. This would be so quick and simple. So I would just lay out my circles, and basically you're gonna get 3, I think, on a layout. Let's do it like this, and maybe this with that. And then this on this side. Okay, look how cute that is. Very simple, but it definitely is like kind of a showstopper. You could put them down the center of a page and then grab a photo. I have photos right here, so I'll just grab this picture of me and my sister being goofy. Okay, you could even grab multiple photos. And I think this would be a fun design idea to run with the circles. You could even make it so that the circles go at the end of a photo like this. I think that would be really cute, actually. I'm gonna have to try that. Just coming up with stuff on the spot, people. Here's another one. Okay, I think this would be fun. This would be really cute to do like a he said, she said, or she said in this case, because it's me and my sister. But you can do something like that. Or, you know, you could just do one half circle on the side as kind of a design element. You could create just a giant scallop. I think that would be cute, or a small one, you know, just using circle punches. So these are all just ways to use circle punches, but I have lots more ways that I've used them on layouts and different projects in the past that I will show you as well. So before we move on from circles, I wanted to show you a couple more. Here I've used punched circles just layered on top of each other for some high impact and lots of pattern. Here's another similar example where I've punched pattern paper. So think about the papers that have circles on them you can punch out. You can see on the edge of the layout, I also added the leftovers from the punch. I think it's an interesting texture. Here I've used a couple of circle punches to make a reinforcer for a tag, so you can see how cute they look, and that's just some washi tape on those, so that's another way to use your washi tape as well. This seems simple, but punching squares is so easy. You can punch your photo and see exactly where you're punching it. You can punch your pattern paper, and it's just a little bit easier. This is the same thing done with rectangles. It's so easy to punch rather than use your trimmer. You can obviously use your trimmer, but it's so fast to just punch them out. Here's another impactful layout where I like to use a lot of one shape, and these are some hearts. And you can see I've put some glitter on one half of each heart. Here's another one with those punched hearts all over the background of the layout. So I love doing that high impact, lots of pattern with punches. And that's from my Zap Your Scraps class if you're interested in using your scraps. This one has a bunch of label shapes punched in the entire background, so that's a labor of love, but something easy to do that just takes a little time. So here are some photos from the layout that I created. I hope that you've enjoyed. I am going to keep my punches, but I think I'm going to get rid of a few that are very similar or duplicated, and I like to keep a punch or two out on my desk to remind me to use it, or put it in a kit to remind me to use it. So I would definitely suggest trying that. I hope that you've enjoyed and that you'll join me again soon. So, will you take up the challenge? Join us on Facebook in the Crafty Use It or Lose It group, and tag your photos on social media, #CraftyUseItOrLoseIt. Can't wait to see what you create.
So, what do you have to use or lose? Leave a comment and you may see it in an upcoming episode. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future Use It or Lose It videos. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week.